snowy scene in Buffalo last night. Bills Mafia shoveling snow, as you might expect. That's at 2 p.m., by the way. They were out there making sure it was ready to go. They know a thing or two about this. We're going to pick it up in the top of the second quarter. Niners with the ball. Christian McCaffrey up the middle for 18 yards.
This is a beautiful sight to see. Not only in the snow, but McCaffrey breaking off a long run. You wonder, is he back?
Well, unfortunately, more on that later. He gets the ball immediately sliding down there, and he left the game, does not return. Adam Schefter will have an update on his health in just a little bit, so don't miss that. 8 minutes, 48 seconds to go in the second. First play of the Bills' possession. Josh Allen to James Cook, 65 yards for the touchdown.
Yeah, the most shocking part of this is James Cook running away from 3 or 4 San Francisco defenders that had angles on him. His speed fully on display.
Just felt like it was not going the 49ers' way throughout this one. Bills in the red zone here, less than a minute to go in the second half. Allen finding Mac Hollins in the end zone for a 7-yard touchdown. Allen said that was one of his favorite plays of the entire game after the game. Bills up 21-3 over halfway through the third. Bills near the goal line, and this was just crazy.
Only this quarterback would pull off this just goon type of play. Amazing catch by Coop. And then the awareness to lateral it to Josh. And finally, if he gets out at the 1, the play's not nearly as cool. Got to score.
It's really cool to think about Amari Cooper joining this team in season and already having that type of chemistry with them. 12 minutes and 41 seconds left in the game. The Bills are back in the red zone. Josh Allen running it in for the 8-yard touchdown. The Bills dominate 35-10. Here's Sean McDermott after the game in the snow.
These guys just have great symmetry. They really do. And when you're connected like that, hey, I want to see an angel, a snow angel. Ready? Come on, let's go. Snow angel, come on, come on. Love you, buddy. Oh, man.
Went ahead and switched hats there, too, because of what they were able to get done last night. What a game for Josh Allen. 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and receiving touchdown on that lateral from Amari Cooper. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to record a passing TD, rushing TD, and receiving TD in the same game. Unfortunately, we don't have records on quarterbacks doing snow angels with his coach, but he might be the first to do that, too. Fun to see that personality from Sean McDermott. RC, what do you make of the Bills' plan for a game in those type of conditions?
Well, I mean, first off, let's talk about the Bills drafting a quarterback that was built for those type of conditions. A guy at 6'5", 240 pounds, a howitzer for an arm. So you know that you can have the plays we saw him make with his legs and also throw the back shoulder to Mac Hollins when he's locked up with Travarius Ward. But their plan was made for this sort of weather. And the way that this team has been trending since Joe Brady took over as the offensive coordinator is for a night like last night. James Cook was huge in the snow. You saw the big run. Dan mentioned him running away from players on the outside, but also the short passing game that allowed this team to get yards after catch. I felt like Joe Brady understood the assignment in knowing what the weather would be, knowing how the footing could affect you both offensively and defensively, and having a plan devised to take advantage of the San Francisco 49ers, who clearly didn't come into this game with as clear of a game plan.
Yeah, you know, Ryan, sometimes games like this in inclement weather, they can be hard to analyze, right? Because it changes the way football is played. But I think in this case, it actually clarified who these teams are, because what we saw is things that both teams have been doing all year, just kind of cranked up to 11. Specifically, that Bills run game. Dan has talked about this. He's going to talk about it more. They use 6 offensive linemen more than any team in football. Last night, they cranked that up to 30%. Those duo downhill runs, the receivers blocking. Mac Hollins, I thought, was fantastic in that regard. This is something we have seen from Buffalo all year, but then you combine it with the snow, and it's almost amplified. And then on the other side, same thing with the 49ers. This is a defense that has struggled to stop runs between the tackles all season long. But again, in this game, in these circumstances, those struggles become one of the reasons why they lost. And I think this was an identity game, for a Buffalo that has a very clear offensive vision.
Yeah, so when Buffalo made the decision to move on from Stephon Diggs, last night was the game that they envisioned, I believe. If you go back 2 seasons ago, Cincinnati goes in there and pounds the football at Buffalo. Buffalo can't run the ball and just dominates the game. And then you watch last night, and you sit there, and we've heard all season long of, well, this is a different football team. No one really cares who gets the stats. Everybody's bought in, all 11 guys on the offense. And that's the perfect example of how it plays out. Mina mentioned it. it's fascinating to see how the wide receiver group in Buffalo is now being coined with one of the better wide receiver blocking groups in the NFL. Mina talked about that duo run. It doesn't happen unless you have two things at your wide receiver spot. One, smarts, Khalil and Mac Hollins being smart enough to handle it. And two, the selflessness. They were not going to be the stars of the night. Many games, they haven't been the stars of the season. But the only reason they're playing to that level and the only reason that they're capable of running that style of offense is because the receivers are willing and capable of doing it. And I think that speaks to a different philosophy in Buffalo that feels like they're a legit, I guess, win in any way Super Bowl contender that they haven't been in the past.
Dan, you let me right into it because that's exactly what I took away from the game. We watched this team 2 years ago get bludgeoned by the New England Patriots that only ran the football in these conditions.
Yeah,
it was windy as well. But when you think about the balance that they have from a player standpoint, early in the year, we saw a game where we felt like they missed Stephon Diggs. But you've seen this progression take place over the duration of the season. I'm telling you, the most impressive thing for me was, and I understand the inclement weather, and we can't act like we haven't seen it before where Josh Allen will throw 30 passes in these type of games. It was 17 passes, and I know the 4 touchdowns is going to get a lot of attention. This is a team of substance and no longer flash. And I think that's what makes them a Super Bowl contender is the fact that when you need to get something done on the ground, and y'all know how I feel about that, they absolutely can in a physical manner and not necessarily having to scheme it up and create lanes for themselves.
Adam Schefter in here for more on this game. And Shefty, Christian McCaffrey left the game with a knee injury last night. What do we know there?
It's a PCL injury, Laura. He's undergoing an MRI today to determine if there is any chance of him returning this season in what has become a lost season for the 49ers and Christian McCaffrey. He started out last night and looked so explosive, running over players and making all sorts of tackles. But there was the play. That play there where he got hurt. Not this play where he went down and then took himself out of the game. It was one play earlier where he banged his knee and sustained the PCL injury that he did that now threatens to end his regular season after he had played in only 4 games. So this is a situation that the 49ers will be working through today. They're hoping that it's not serious, but it is the potential to be a season-ending injury right now for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, you just hate it. Melissa Stark reporting last night on the injury and talking about the frustration that you saw from McCaffrey as soon as he realized something wasn't right. All right, let's get to more action from Sunday. In this game, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles taking on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. I was really excited to see how this one would play out. First quarter, Ravens leading 3-0, and Jackson stepping back. He has time. He finds Mark Andrews in the end zone making the grab.
Yeah, it's a good play by Lamar. Great play by Mark Andrews to come back and fight for that football. Strong hands to make that catch. Lamar trusts him, and it pays off.
Ravens lead 9-0 after a missed extra point. More on that in a little bit. Middle of the second quarter, same score. Hurts connecting with Dallas Goedert. He gets in the end zone.
No huddle offense. They went right down the field, stayed in the same formation, ran the same play multiple times to the flat touchdown.
And then here, 3 minutes before the end of the half, Hurts taking the snap. He runs to the 1-yard line. The Eagles have a chance to take the lead, and the tush push does just that for the touchdown. So Eagles leading 14-12 at the half. We go to the third quarter. Justin Tucker lining up for the field goal. This is a 47-yard attempt, and unfortunately, no good for Tucker. Just really odd to see a player, a kicker that's been so lights out for so long, have the struggles. Late in the quarter, Tucker lining up again, and Dan, it's another miss.
I've watched Justin Tucker hit 60-yarders like 6 times in a game to win. It's shocking to see him going through these struggles. It also stinks because he's one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, I agree. Harbaugh hugging him there. Fourth quarter, same score. Hurts handing it off to Saquon Barkley, and he takes it all the way in. Eagles lead 21-12. And then ensuing Ravens drive, it's fourth down here. Jackson with an opportunity over the middle, but the pass is incomplete. So the Eagles win 24-19. And man, for the third straight game, Saquon Barkley took over in the fourth quarter. What a weapon he is. He rushed for 63 yards and a touchdown in the fourth on Sunday after totaling just 44 rushing yards in the first 3 quarters. It's his third straight game with 50 rushing yards and a touchdown in the fourth quarter. The only other players who have done that since 1978 are Terrell Davis in 98 and Barry Sanders in 1991. RC, how was that Philly offense able to just close out and kind of put their will on the Ravens in the end of the game yesterday?
You know what? So often we're used to calling closers at the running back positions these big physical backs. Saquon Barkley has become a closer with explosive plays. And if you look at this sequence in the fourth quarter for the Philadelphia Eagles, I think it illustrates that more than anything. Here you're going to see at the start of the drive on 1st and 10, you give Saquon Barkley the ball here. You see the patience, and he's a toenail away from breaking with Kyle Hamilton. Now watch the way that they draw on the run here with the zone read, and you're going to get 2 pullers out in front of Jalen Hurts. And because Saquon Barkley attracts so many people, he's now able to get up past the first down. Now we're going to give it to Saquon again. Jordan Mailata is going to get the pull, and he's going to get just enough of the linebacker to get Saquon Barkley on to the second level. But what happens at the second level? You make Ardarius Washington miss with speed and finish through Tre'Davious White with power. It's not just that Saquon Barkley is this home run hitter constantly. It's that if you give it to him consistently, eventually the dam will break while he works his way up to 100-yard games.
All right, see, I love that tape. And 2 of their touchdown drives yesterday was also a no-huddle offense. So they stay on the field, they figure out what you're doing, and they constantly try to challenge you. I think the thing that we've kind of lost sight of with Philadelphia's offensive line throughout this season is it's a unicorn unit. All 5 guys can pull. I don't believe there's an NFL offensive line that all 5 guys can pull. They pull basically at the second most rate in the NFL outside of, I think, the Commanders, and they're averaging 6 yards a carry when they're pulling people, and that's the interesting thing. You sometimes entails offensively, they only want to pull their right tackle, only want to pull their left tackle, they only want to pull the center. All 5 of these players can pull, and what that does is it opens up your offense when it comes to side. You have no tendencies and tells of who's going to do what. It helps angles in your blocking when it comes to the front side of guys. I think this is the only offensive line that I can think of in the NFL that not only is willing to do it, but is also capable of doing it. I could not imagine being a defense trying to handle the versatility of this offensive line.